It was a normal Saturday afternoon. I was about to boot up Destiny when I saw Aztecross post this video. I thought to myself, I've made a threadling build before, so let's see what he's got to say. I'm agreeing with most of what he's saying until he says this.
I am addicted to this build. It is so difficult playing Titan right now. And I say this as a Titan main. Some of these Warlock and Hunter builds are absolutely insane.
I was gutted. As a Titan main myself, I know the struggles of how powerful other builds can be, but I don't let that stop me from building the best Titan builds for any activity. So I set out on a mission with one goal in mind, to change Aztecross's mind by creating a Strand Titan build that would do all the things that he fell in love with from his precious Warlock build. It wasn't easy, but let me tell you, this build we're showing off today can do nearly everything his Warlock build can. Plus, it has extra survivability for your team. So Guardians, rally your fire team and join us as we show off one of the best Strand Titan builds for Onslaught. Remember to leave a like if you find this video helpful, and if you like seeing build videos and other Destiny 2 helpful content, consider hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump right on into it. The Warlock threadling build he uses does three main things. First, it takes advantage of every way possible to buff and create as many threadlings as possible. Second, it has ways to suspend targets, so now you can not only slow down enemies, but keep them grouped up to deal more AoE damage. And third, it has survivability from Weave Walk and your Rift. So with this Titan build, we aim to accomplish all three of those goals. So let's dive into the nitty gritty and talk about how this build works. Our exotic of choice is Precious Scars. Final Warning is immensely powerful, and because we're bringing a Strand heavy, we can now use Precious Scars to constantly give us and our team 3 seconds of restoration just by getting kills with those Strand weapons. With the Warlock exotic Swarmers, you can create more threadlings from tangles, but that's pretty much it. The only other benefit is threadlings unraveling targets, but we always have a way to unravel from Final Warning and the seasonal artifact. So when it comes to the exotic, I'm giving a point to Titans, since we provide more healing to us and our team, and we provide a safer res by giving an overshield to us and that teammate. When it comes to the super, we have Blade Fury, which is actually very strong for Onslaught. I believe most people struggle with clearing enemies fast, and mainly the rounds with mini bosses. While having Needle Storm is useful to help melt bosses, being able to suspend waves of enemies or slash away at mini bosses is very helpful. The main difference being that as a Titan, we get more access to suspend and more sustained damage on waves of enemies. And the main advantage for Warlocks being that you can deal more DPS with a one and done super. I think these basically cancel out, so neither build will get a point when it comes to supers. When it comes to the class ability, we're taking Rally Barricade. While having a healing rift for Warlock is nice, our Rally Barricade can do three things. 1, it can suspend mass amounts of targets with one of our aspects. 2, it can disorient enemies that walk through it. And 3, it offers us more range and reload speed for our weapons. Plus, its cooldown is about half that of healing rift. So I'm giving 1 point to Titans for its class ability. For the melee, we have Frenzy Blade, and while this melee is strong, it's not the focus of this build. Yes, the Warlock melee can unravel, but you have to save them for Weave Walk, so they aren't the focus of that build either, so no points to either build for melees. And for your grenade, we have the Threadling Grenade. Since this is a Threadling build, the Threadling Grenade is a no-brainer. You create 3 Threadlings, and it's as simple as that. It works the same on this build as it does that build, so no points to either build. And the aspects are where things start to get really interesting. For our first aspect, we're taking Banner of War. This gives us the ability to get a finisher or a melee kill to start gaining stacks of banner. We keep getting kills or let your teammates get kills next to you to work up to 4 stacks. At 4 stacks, you and your team will be getting 20 health every second. That plus the restoration you're getting from getting those strand weapon kills, you're providing immense amount of healing to not only yourself, but also your team. And I'm gonna compare this aspect to its Warlock counterpart, Weave Walk. While it does create threadlings, it also uses up your melee charges, so you need to make sure you have melee charges to even use it in the first place. I find it super easy to create a ton of threadlings, so generating extra threadlings is only sort of helpful. The main advantage of it is that you get 90% damage resistance while you're in Weave Walk. Since this only allows you access to 1 fragment, I think Titans have the advantage here. We can take Woven Mail to constantly have 50% damage resistance, plus constant healing. Then Warlocks only get 90% damage resistance in certain moments, and Titans can use their melees at will, whereas you have to save your melees for Weave Walk when you're on Warlock. Since Titans can heal your team and get constant woven mail, I'm giving another point to Titans. For our second aspect, we're taking Drengr's Lash, where you can use your barricade to create a suspending wave. The Warlock counterpart, which is the Wanderer, is better. You can destroy tangles by shooting them or throwing them to suspend nearby targets. And since tangles are easy to create, you get slightly more suspending power with Warlock. Plus, it gives you a purpose for those tangles, whereas Titans, you only use the tangles to deal damage. So plus 1 point to Warlocks. As for the fragments, we are taking 3 of the same fragments, which on Warlock, that's only 3, so we will get an extra one. The first one being Thread of Generation. This fragment gives you back more grenade energy based on how much damage you're dealing. I consider this a wash since both builds deal constant damage, and the grenade is the exact same, so you're basically getting back your grenade energy at the same rate. The second one being Thread of Evolution, where threadlings now deal 53% more damage to red and yellow bar enemies, and they're going to deal an extra 33% damage to bosses and mini bosses. I find that we can create so many threadlings with this build that with this damage buff, you melt everything. But since Warlocks can create more threadlings, they technically have an advantage, but it doesn't feel that much stronger than this build. So I'll give Warlocks a half point as a consolation prize. Our third fragment is going to be Thread of Rebirth, and this fragment is perfect for both of these builds. We will be using Final Warning, which shreds enemies, and a Strand Heavy so that we can create threadlings on more strand weapon kills. This procs 3 threadlings when killing those mini boss thrall that spawn, so make sure to aim for them first. This is the same for both builds, so no point to either build. Those are your fragments for Warlock, but with Titan we get that extra slot, so we are taking Thread of Warding, and this is where Titans take the advantage. Since you get that extra fragment slot, we take Thread of Warding to give us woven mail when we pick up an orb. Between us and our team mass creating orbs, this means we should nearly always have woven mail active to give you that extra 50% damage resistance constantly. So in reality, Warlocks take 50% more damage in most cases, so plus 1 to Titans. When it comes to your stats, the stats should be basically the same for both builds, so no points to either build. First up, I'm going for 100 Resilience. The added 30% damage resistance is definitely nice, and we can get our Rally Barricade down to a 22-second cooldown so that we can suspend more often. After that, I like to shoot for 100 Discipline, since we want to throw as many of those threadling grenades as possible. And finally, I go for a mix of Recovery and Intellect to help with survivability and using our super more often. As for our armor mods, with the helmet, I'm taking Harmonic Siphon so that when we're getting those strand weapon kills, we're creating orbs. And then I also like to pair that with Heavy Ammo Finder so that we're generating ourselves more heavy ammo bricks. And when you're using an exotic primary, this amount of heavy bricks starts to skyrocket. The final mod I'm taking is Ashes to Assets. We're going to be throwing our grenades a ton, so we're now just going to get back more super energy. As for the gauntlets, the first one I'm taking is Firepower. We will be using our grenades a ton, so this is a good option to generate even more orbs for that extra weapon damage as well as super energy and scrap. I'm also going to pair that with Impact Induction so that melees are going to grant you grenade energy. Since our melees aren't the focus of this build, we can now use them every 7 seconds to proc an extra 12% to our grenade ability energy. And after that, I like Harmonic Loader. Since the main power of this build comes from our weapons, I'm using Harmonic Loader to help increase the reload speed of our strand weapons. For the chest mods, Aztecross chose to go with a charged up mod here. It's not really necessary for this build, so I'm going with 3 resistance mods, depending on which enemies you're facing. And that will just give you an extra 15% damage resistance, so an extra half point for Titans. As for the legs, I'm running with the same mods, because I do think it's the best option. The 2 strand weapon surges will help you shred through enemies and create more threadlings. And recuperation helps give you a bit more health, giving you 70 health whenever you pick up an orb. That plus your restoration and your Banner of War, it's gonna make you pretty hard to kill. For the mark, I'm going with Outreach so that we're getting 12% to our melee energy whenever we use that class ability. You do have 3 charges of your melee and they lead into more grenade energy. So I find this to be the best option over something like Bomber. And I like to use Reaper to create even more orbs after using that class ability by getting weapon kills and pairing that with Powerful Attraction to make it easy to collect all those orbs. You can rock Time Dilation instead, but since we create so many orbs, I find these 2 to be the more powerful options. When it comes to the artifact, this season has 2 pretty awesome perks for both of these builds. First, we have Unraveling Orbs, which give our strand weapons Unravel by picking up an orb. Unravel is super strong, so it's nice to have a way to always proc this. The second perk is the main component, Horde Shuttle. Now, damaging unraveled targets creates threadlings. With this perk, Thread of Rebirth, and Threadling Grenades, we'll be spawning threadlings everywhere to go deal damage for us. Make sure to grab the Barrier Sidearm perk so that your Final Warning will be getting that damage buff. When it comes to the weapons, the main weapon of choice for both builds is Final Warning. This sidearm allows you to hold down the trigger to mark targets, and hitting those marked targets will unravel them. If you fire it from the hip, body shots on those marked targets will deal 20% more damage. Or you can aim down sights to deal 100% more crit damage to those marked targets. I personally like to aim down sights and hit the crits on those marked targets so that you get that extra double damage, and that plus strand weapon surge absolutely cooks. Even mini bosses like the big thrall or knights in later waves get absolutely shredded. You can also just tap the trigger to fire normal bullets, but it becomes super powerful when you mark those targets and hit the crit. For the heavy weapon, Azetcross uses a Strand machine gun like the Mercado with Hatchling to generate mass amounts of threadlings. Machine guns just aren't that good, but there are plenty of other options out there that are just as good, if not better. Carax's Distress is a grenade launcher that can roll with Demo and Hatchling, so you can use this to create more threadlings, but also to get back your grenade to create even more threadlings. Or you can take Semiotician, which is a rocket launcher that allows you to stun overload champs with the seasonal artifact. You can run either Bipod to hold up to 17 rockets, or you can run Hatchling to again create more threadlings. The main damage source is Final Warning, so pick a heavy that feels right for you. For the energy slot, it again comes up to user's choice. You can take a disorienting grenade launcher for better ad control, or you can take a sniper for long range DPS in the boss room, or for those pesky shriekers. It's purely up to you. The weapons are a big part of this build, but they should be the same for either build, so neither build gets a point. Both builds are very strong builds, but with the Titan build surpassing in 4.5 of the categories and the Warlock build surpassing in only 1.5 categories, the Precious Scars Titan build takes the win. At the end of the day, both builds offer amazing weapon damage from Final Warning, mass destruction with threadlings and unravel, ways to suspend numerous enemies, and immaculate survivability, all of which help you to clear 50 waves of Legend Onslaught. I hope Aztecross sees this video so he can come back to the light and rejoin us Titan mains. Remember, mastering these builds is only the beginning. Experiment with different combinations, tweak your loadouts to suit your playstyle, and never stop honing your skills. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed seeing a new perspective, feel free to like the video and comment down below what you might change or how you'd improve the Precious Threadlings build. Keep an eye out for future videos as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Destiny 2. Until then, may the threads of fate be ever in your favor. This is Lucky Mech, signing off. See you on the next adventure, Guardians.